You want to listen?
Okay, now, thank you very much, Trevor. And today is a very important day where the government is able to enumerate some of the things that have happened. And I want to say that you have seen a very busy day in a market. Every person is making their kill and going home. But there's one person who suffers at night or the following morning, the person who comes to clean that market. So that person will always have a very big challenge because there's a pawpaw which was left, which was rotten. There's a pineapple which was dropped and it was crushed. There's even a baby who was in that market and did not have proper diapers, and they did what they did, and someone has to come and clean all that mess. And really, that has been what it has been for William Samoei Ruto for 1 year. That
been cleaning a mess.
We have been. William Samoei Ruto has had the, the most unfortunate opportunity of cleaning so much mess that was left by the handshake government, and this the gentleman has done with a lot of grace. It is not easy for him. It's not easy for him, but he has to do the job. Mm-hmm. And one of the challenges, as I come to the issues that he has done, but one of the challenges that William Samoei Ruto has had to suffer is the fact that the handshake government had borrowed up to almost 10 trillion Kenya shillings. And after having borrowed that, what was enumerated in the books, then he also had now the challenge of coming to implement some of the projects that were also started by the previous handshake government that did not have resources to do. For example, there was the issue of the roads that the president is supposed to complete. Mm. But when you look at the books, those roads have a whole 1 trillion shillings that is pending bills that is not paid. At the same time, William Samoei Ruto has to pay all the loans that had been taken, because most of the loans had a grace period, and most of them now have come to mature at this time. As we are talking, this nation is faced with the biggest of the biggest challenges in this December, where this nation is supposed to be paying the $2 million Eurobond.
$2 billion.
$2 billion Eurobond. And maybe the nation might not understand Ruto as we are talking. But this gentleman has been having sleepless nights looking for money to ensure that he pays this Eurobond, to ensure that he does not jump, just like many other nations in the African continent have. You know, there are so many nations that have not been able to pay their Eurobonds and their loans. And of course, Kenya, had the biggest Eurobond ever in this republic, in this continent, and probably even globally. And this Eurobond is now coming to be paid in this December. Yeah. And for that reason then, William Samoei Ruto had the opportunity of putting every single shilling together to ensure come December, yeah, he surprises the world by paying that Eurobond. It's supposed to be paid all the way up to May. But from what I have listened to him, I have had the opportunity to sit with him from time to time, he has clearly indicated that he wants to pay that Eurobond ahead of time.
So we will not default.
So that we don't default.
But the ripple effect of that is,
because defaulting would have a very serious ripple effect.
But people are now being overtaxed.
Are you getting? So now, the issue is here. A government has to give services to Kenyans. Government has to run. But this government has no money to run. Are you getting? And it's not because the government is not collecting money. If you are to look at the collections that this government is collecting today as compared to last year, the government is collecting way much more. So it's not like the government doesn't have money. This government has so much money, and it is collecting so much more. I have heard some people say that the government is not meeting, is collecting less because of overtaxing. I've heard those kind of allegations. But the truth of the matter is, the government has set higher targets, way higher targets than last year, to be able to meet its public debt. And for that reason, in some of the instances, the government may not meet all the targets that it is having. But that does not mean that it is not collecting much more than it was collecting last year. It's collecting much more. But why is the government interested in collecting much more? Because government need to run the affairs of this republic, but also the government also need to pay the public debt. Are you getting? Now, what are some of the things that the government then has done, as Honorable Senator Onyonka here and Ed asked in the 1 year? One of the things that the government has done is that it has dealt with the issue of balancing the economy. There have been challenges, like when you look at the issue of the fuel. There have been a challenge because the fuel, has risen in terms of cost way beyond what we expected. And of course, some of the people would want to say that it's out of the VAT. But if you are to look at the VAT component in this fuel, you will find that the VAT component that is there is just about 12 to 16 shillings, depending on how much you are retailing this fuel at. But if you look at the increase, you'll see it's way beyond the VAT. Even if you are to remove the VAT today, fuel would still be retailing at around 198 to 202 Kenya shillings, depending on whether it is diesel or petrol. And that is exactly what is also happening across in other countries. And what the president is trying to do now is try and manage this challenge. And this challenge, to some extent, has also been managed through the G2G arrangement with the UAE. But the president is also going to visit the Saudi this weekend. And why is the president visiting Saudi this weekend? He's doing this to go and negotiate for a discount with the Saudi government, which is selling most of its fuel to us.
So it's cleaning a mess.
I mean, you get on that. Yeah, but the issue of the fuel costs may not necessarily have emanated from the mismanagement of the economy in the last 10 years. That one has a little bit much more to do with the external factors.
All right. Let's hear what the others have to say.
Just a minute. So that now I can very quickly also now come to the issues of how the government is now managing the issue of the economy.
We'll get
one of the ways the government is managing the economy is ensuring that there's production in the country, that we produce much more. You have seen the issue of launching of the industrial parks in counties. They are now being prepared for construction so that we can have industrial parks, so that we can produce more. You have seen the issue of producing food. You have seen where the government has lowered the inputs in terms of subsidizing the inputs, bringing the fertilizer all the way from 7,500 to 2,500, and also ensuring that it goes to the lower levels in the upcountry. Of course, sometimes you're having shortages here and there because of the uptake, which is way higher than what has been before. So government also need to ensure that it is having much more supply of fertilizer to mashinani. Now, that is a very important issue that has happened. There's also the issue of taking care of our elderly people. For the first time, the government is paying the elderly people, the Inua Jamii, the cash transfer, the money to cushion people who are vulnerable and very old. It's being paid before the salaries of government officials is paid. And not only is the government doing that, but the government has also added another lot of people. Anyone who is beyond 70 years has been already added in the process of now receiving their money. Are you getting?
Let's hear what Onyonka has to say about this also.
So there's the issue of production. Onyonka did donate his time to me. He said for this morning, he has donated all the time.
The exercise I allowed him.
So at this time, we have all the elderly people. I mean, let me say this. We have the issue of social protection. That is at the center stage of this, because we know there are those hardships of the economy. So there's a way government is taking care of those people who are quite vulnerable. But there's also the issue of production on the other side, to ensure that we are spurring the economy, and to ensure that this also brings about the issue of employment. There's the issue of the housing arrangement. And the housing arrangement that has already started in earnest. You can see now the president is launching new construction all over. Some people thought that this was not going to happen. Some people thought it was something that was not going to take place. But as we are talking today, the president, whenever he goes somewhere, he's launching a new construction that is happening. I mean, that in itself is bringing a new industry, is bringing more employment to the young people. And by the time we are about 1 year, you will see that there will be so much construction activities going on across the country that there will be...
Let's hear what Onyonka has to say.
Trevor,
because of time.